You already know the feeling. You're standing in the dairy aisle, $12 for a gallon of milk, and that little voice in your head says, "This cannot be real." But the price tag doesn't care about your voice. You swipe your card anyway. Then you go home and complain to your partner, your friends, your Twitter feed. Can you believe eggs are $15? The price hikes are real. But what most people don't want to admit is that we were warned. Not by some doom-scrolling conspiracy theorist, by Walmart in a quarterly earnings call last fall. The CFO said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We will try to keep prices low for as long as we can, but by summer, the hike will be deeply felt." That was November 2025, 8 months ago. And you kept buying. We all kept buying. But what you didn't do is buy enough or prepare for the very time they warned you would be coming. This time last year, Ingles has Laura Lynn's bleach for $1.98 a gallon. Even then, I was shocked at the prices. I nearly broke my back trying to carry all of that bleach to my car because I knew to prepare. Yesterday, that same bleach in a slightly smaller container, $3.98. I look to my right, Clorox, $8.99 for a 121-ounce bottle. The difference in bleach, Clorox has a thicker solution, which prevents splash. I promise you, I'll pour slower. Not in any world am I willing to pay $9 for bleach. Let me walk you through exactly what they told us. On November 14th, 2025, Walmart's Executive Vice President, John David Rainey, sat in front of investors and said supply chain labor costs had risen 22% year over year. He said, and this is a direct quote from the transcript, "We are absorbing a portion of those costs now, but we cannot do that indefinitely. Consumers should expect moderate price increases beginning in Q2 of 2026. That was a warning shot fired 7 months before the first egg hit $14. But just so you understand, it wasn't a prediction. It was a test. They wanted to see if we would keep buying when prices crossed the pain threshold. And we did. In January, when milk went from $4 to $6, sales barely dipped. In February, when bread hit $5, you bought the store brand instead of the name brand, but you still bought bread. By March, Walmart's own internal data showed that 78% of shoppers had not changed their total weekly spending. They just swapped products. So the algorithm learned that they will pay. That's the hidden systemic reality. The price isn't set by supply and demand, it's set by what you tolerate. Every time you put that $15 egg carton in your cart, you're feeding a machine that says, yes, this is acceptable. And the optimal price is the highest one you don't refuse. This is all the more reason they've gone to digital pricing. They know when to increase and decrease prices now. Now, let me tell you about a woman named Denise from Ohio. She wrote me last week, not me personally, but a post on a community board I follow. Denise is a single mom, works 2 part-time jobs, makes $52,000 a year. She said her grocery bill has gone from $180 a week to $310 a week since January. She stopped buying fresh fruit. She stopped buying meat except for one night a week. And last Tuesday, she stood in the cereal aisle for 7 minutes. I don't know what else to do. I have to feed my kids. Denise is not the problem. The problem is that Denise has no third option. Or she thinks she doesn't, because the architecture of modern grocery retail is designed to make refusal feel impossible. The stores are laid out so that the essentials, milk, eggs, bread, are at the back. You have to walk past 3 aisles of high-margin impulse items just to get to the thing you came for. The lighting is warm. The music is slow. The shopping cart is just big enough that you don't notice the weight of the cost until you're at the register. And by then, the social pressure of the person behind you, the tiredness in your feet, the cold sweat of, I just want to go home. It all combines into one automatic action: swipe. But here's the pattern. This isn't just happening with food, it's happening with rent, with streaming services, with your phone bill, with every subscription and every necessity. The playbook is identical. Raise the price just a little. Wait, see if anyone leaves. If churn stays below the threshold, raise it again. The threshold isn't your pain. The threshold is your action. As long as you don't cancel, don't switch, don't walk out of the aisle empty-handed, the algorithm interprets that as consent, not happiness. Consent. Think about Netflix. They've raised prices 6 times in 4 years. Every time people complain on social media for 3 days, and then they keep watching. Netflix's own earnings reports say the same thing every quarter. Average revenue per user increased while churn remained within expected ranges. I literally did an episode about churning, zombie revenue. That is corporate code for you complained and then you paid anyway. Because if complaining worked, prices would go down. They don't. Only not buying works. So what do you actually do? Not the performative outrage, not the hashtag boycott that lasts one news cycle, the real, quiet, effective refusal. Here are 3 questions to carry into the store tomorrow, not as instructions, as revelations. 1. Is this item a need or a negotiated want? Most of what we buy has become habitual, not necessary. The $12 brand of orange juice, you don't need it. The pre-sliced cheese that costs twice as much as the block, you can slice it yourself. Separate the biological necessity from the engineered convenience. 2. What happens if I simply leave it on the shelf? Not put it back. Leave it. Walk away. The store has already ordered replacement stock based on your past behavior. When you don't buy, you break the predictive model. It takes 3 weeks of consistent refusal for their inventory algorithms to register a demand shift. 3 weeks of you saying not today before the price even twitches. 3. Who else in my community would refuse with me? This is the deepest question because the system is designed to atomize you. It wants you to feel alone in the checkout line. But the moment you realize that your neighbor is also putting back the $15 eggs, the game changes. That's not guilt. That's power. And the people who run the pricing algorithms are terrified of that feeling because they can't model it. They can model income, spending, loyalty, points, even your predicted death date from your purchasing history. They cannot model the moment you decide no for no other reason than because I can. So here's the only strategy. Make yourself unpredictable, not by being random, by being principled. Pick one category, eggs, milk, bread, whatever. And just stop buying it for 30 days, not because you can't afford it, because you want to remember what it feels like to say no. Watch what happens. The store won't notice you, but you will notice you. And that is where the real inflation ends. Not in Washington, not in a boardroom, but in the silent space between your hand and the shelf. Until next time.